1956. Our first meeting was January the 10th. We were all present except Mavis Rolls, who was ill, and Pat Leverton. The elections for the committee proceeded, and all last year's committee members were re-elected. We had just the normal run of meetings in the house until the end of April, when we started having some outdoor games. We had a letter from Pat Leverton during April saying that she wouldn't be coming anymore as she was too busy. We were very sorry but not surprised to get this news, as she hadn't been to the club since January the 24th, and she was never enrolled as a member as she was so often absent. However, the excitement was growing during April as we were getting ourselves prepared to go youth hosteling on May the 5th. We were learning the hostel rules, the country code, and making lists of what we should need. On May the 1st, all the last-minute arrangements were seen to. All was ready for our club outing to Rudyard Lake near Leek, Cheshire, on May the 5th. The whole club met at Mount Street bus station and caught the 1:55 bus to Derby. From there we caught a bus to Leek, and when we alighted, we started walking to the hostel. We had only about 3 miles to walk, but the juniors were soon tired, owing to the fact that they had been dashing about playing games. Arriving at the youth hostel, we changed our shoes and made our beds, having nothing else to do before supper. We toured the grounds and went down to the lake, where some boys asked us to go in their boats. We decided against this, as we wished to keep dry and we didn't want to be late for supper. Had some of us, mainly the juniors, not eaten so many sweets, etc., before supper, the supper would have been better appreciated. Our duty was washing up, which we did after supper. Marisa, Anne, vice-captain, and Gillian went down to the village at Rudyard in the evening, while the rest of us went into the common room to sing camp songs. After an exhausting evening, we eventually went up to bed at about 11 p.m. and went to sleep at about 12 p.m. J. Parkinson. Rudyard Lake, Sunday. On Sunday morning, everybody except Gillian were up and dressed before the rising bell. When we were ready, we went for a walk, as it was not quite time for breakfast. For breakfast, we had porridge, and then we had something fried. Joyce wasn't in for breakfast, as she was with a boy called John. After this, Vice-Captain went to the warden to get Joyce's duty. It was sweeping the dormitory. When we were ready to go, we changed our shoes and got our packed dinners. Vice-Captain carried most of them because she had the most room in her haversack. When we were outside, Captain took a photograph of us all. After the photo had been taken, I remembered I had forgotten my Robin Hood book, so went back to the common room where, after lending it to Pat Rolls, it had been left. When I had put the book in my bag, we started out. Captain and some of the others were a bit behind. As we walked along, we did not keep to the path, but walked on the edge of the lake. We walked for quite a while, and then sat on a wall to wait for the others. After a while, we set out again. Anne and I were a little behind. After a while, we caught the others up and were very surprised to see them going through a small gate where they had seen Captain and some of the others. Mavis was rather slow, so we had to wait for her. When we were all down, we walked for quite a while, and then we saw a shop, so we all went to sit down while some of us went and bought sweets. Across the road was a little path leading to a fairground, so we decided to have our dinner there. There we met some of the boys that we met at the hostel. The dinner was apricot jam and cheese sandwiches with a piece of Dundee cake. After dinner, Captain and Wendy went to take some photographs. After a while they came back. We all sat down to have a rest, and then we saw some rowing boats, and Captain asked us if any of us wanted to go in one. Some of us went in one, while the others waited to see if the motorboats were going out. We waited for quite a while and then found out we could not go in them. When all who were going in a boat were off, Captain and Marissa went for a walk, while Pat, Mavis, Anne and I went to the amusement park. After a while we were all back and together. We started back home. We walked for quite a way, singing as we went along. When we arrived at the bus station, we got into the bus. We travelled for quite a while and at last reached Derby, where we changed buses. When the bus started off, we all sat down to have a rest. At last we arrived at the library, where we all said goodbye. Penny Hill. A few pictures in the logbook. Jill and Captain up a tree and Pat rolls. They're right little tomboys. Monkeys. On May the 15th, we spent our club evening firelighting and cooking our supper up at Atki's old farm. It was a lovely evening, and we had some smashing fires, and some of us had some smashing suppers. We all enjoyed the fun. At August Bank Holiday, 4 of the club went to Arnside Youth Hostel: Anne, Joyce, Peggy and Captain. I arranged a camp at Bridlington from August 11th to the 18th for the guides and the club. Peggy was the only club member who went, and the club paid some of the expenses for her. Some of the club saw Rosemary Neal when she visited Nottingham for a week at the end of August. We were all pleased to see her and hope we shall see her again sometime. On September the 18th, we had a campfire, sing-song and cocoa all round. This was Margaret Witt's last night at the club. The first logbook ends in 1956. This is the second logbook, which starts in 1958. We had another committee meeting after the hosteling trip, as Peggy and Joyce had been talking to Pat about the club carrying on. At this meeting, we changed our decision and agreed to take it in turns to take club meetings, so that I took 2 weeks a month and Peggy and Joyce took 1 each. Soon we began to have work evenings every week and discussions about the social to be held at the Conservative Hall on December the 7th. On December the 7th, a very kind anonymous gentleman offered to pay for the hall for us when he heard we worked for Dr. Bernardo's Homes. Thank you very much. However, the sale and social was a great success. We had about 70 people there, and Pat Rolls will tell you a little about it. Club Social. The club social was held at the Conservative Hall, Arnold, from 7:30 to 10 p.m, the admission being 1 shilling and 6pence. Most of the club had been there in the afternoon, setting out the sale of work and hanging up decorations. The things on sale did not go very well, which was surprising as there was a pleasing number of people present. The evening started off with a barn dance and was followed by more dancing and games. At 8:30, refreshments were handed round by the club, consisting of a cob and cakes and tea or orangeade. The refreshments were followed by drawing for the raffle, the tickets of which had been sold during the evening. The raffle prize, a basket of fruit, was won by Mrs. Briggs. More dancing and games followed. The evening was finished off by everyone joining in Auld Lang Syne. That was the little notice that had been typed up for the social evening. We made a profit of about £6.15 from the social, of which £5 was sent to Dr. Barnardo's homes, together with £3 which we collected when we went carol singing. We went 2 nights this year, and Pat and Derek and my boyfriend Eddie joined us on Christmas Eve. As usual, we were invited in at quite a few houses for food and drinks, including our house, Stacey Blake's, Betty's and Pat Ellis, and as usual we all thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. Here is the receipt and letter from Dr. Barnardo's homes. These were the photographs sent by Dr. Barnardo's to the Sheredean Club with their receipt.